Right, let's get into our first discussion for the day now. Reports show that some girls rescued from Boko Haram have found their way back to the men they were married off to in the dreaded Sambisa forest.
In fact, there were initial reports that some of the girls declined to be rescued, preferring to stay in the terrorist camp. One girl who was rescued told CNN in April 2016, quote, "If I had a gun when the Nigerian military came to rescue me, I would have shot at the soldiers," end quote. And some rescued women have at different times expressed the desire to be reunited with their Boko Haram husbands.
Now, another woman, 25-year-old Aisha, who was married to a Boko Haram commander, was rescued as she returned to Sambisa forest some weeks ago with her child. Aisha even completed a 9-month de-radicalization program in February, as far as reports are concerned. Now, she would, why would a woman, I would say, who have been rescued from clutches of Boko Haram,
gone through de-radicalization,
exactly, met with the family as she has missed, all the while decide to go back to Sambisa forest? These are some of the worrisome things that is happening from the reports we're getting, and we'll try to look at all of that on the show this morning.
Yes,
we have a social commentator and a lawyer, Fred Nziako, joining us in the studio right now. Fred, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you again.
Nice to be here.
Right, I wonder how disturbing this is that with all the prayers, with all the effort, all the pressure on government, that anyone who has been captured, kidnapped by or abducted by Boko Haram should be rescued. Yes. And one way or the other, these people were rescued, and then they want to find their way back to Sambisa forest.
I think it's worrisome, but it is not excruciatingly worrisome. I will explain that because it is not every fellow, not every woman that has been rescued that will want to go back. Some of them who want to go back are those who were fortunate enough to be given some queenly treatment in the cells. Of course, it is natural that the Boko Haram elements are male, a lot of them, and then a lot of them need the female gender to not only bring down their masculine tempo in them, but to also help them in mental restructuring. So some of them, as male human beings, fall in love with some of these ladies. And then by the time they give the ladies all the wows in the world, and then with even a lot of them giving them some firm promise of a very good settlement of life after their fight, because they naturally tell the ladies that the fight is for a particular cause, and that after their fight, they will settle and begin to make very good families. And in some cases, some of the ladies have already had children with them. So
there's a bond.
So there's a bond. And then when such bond still exists, accentuated by the presence of a child or children in the arms of the ladies, they will always want to go back. Moreover, when they are not getting commensurate queenly treatment outside Boko Haram.
Is that a failure on the part of the people, the authorities who have rescued them, in spite of the de-radicalization
yes,
that happened, especially in the case of Aisha, for example,
yes,
and some of the other women? Is it a failure on our part?
I don't think it is entirely failure, because they cannot permanently be undergoing de-radicalization program. A program of 9 months. Yes, you may argue, some psychologists will argue that the program of de-radicalization was not robust enough to completely take away whatever bond. Indoctrination can be removed, but passion cannot be removed. That is the challenge. And then after the de-radicalization, which took like 9 months, don't forget that the ladies were with them, some of them for up to 3-4 years.
Yes. Yeah.
So there has been a lot of things, a lot of passion had gone in between. And after the de-radicalization, there should have been a program of economic empowerment. I think that aspect may be lacking. And if there is
that's where government fails?
Yes, that's where the government fails. If there's no good program of empowerment of the already de-radicalized people, then they will be having some nausea, some nostalgia for the good old times they spent in the cells of Boko Haram. remember, especially those ones that were very well treated, those ones who found favor with the Boko Haram fighters, and who, according to some experts, some security experts, who may have fallen into the trap of Stockholm Syndrome.
Yes.
Right? And then have decided not only becoming emotional, but have even become so attached to the Boko Haram elements, to the extent that they will want to even continue life with them, not minding that the rest of the society is against the insurgency. For them, their life with the Boko Haram people have been rosy. And then naturally every human being will want to go to where a life is rosy.
All right, let's talk about the issue of environment.
Yes.
Now, those girls who have been rescued, some of them, especially because not all of them, are with the federal government program. Yes. There are some with Borno State. There are others who, in fact, are just on their own IDP camps and all that.
Exactly.
Some other NGOs and all of that.
Exactly.
Now, would they have helped a little more if they were taking away from that environment they were before even everything happened in the first place, taking them to either Abuja or even Lagos or Port Harcourt or even outside the country?
The only thing that can do is to achieve some form of detachment by distance, but it will not achieve detachment of their souls from the Boko Haram people who treated them very well. It will not achieve detachment because they will always want to clutch their babies, and those are babies fathered by the Boko Haram elements.
So the baby reminds them.
So the baby continues to remind them that they have a father who is somewhere fighting. And then they even, no matter the amount of de-radicalization that you do, don't forget that in some IDP camps, there are problems. In fact, in most IDP camps, problems of scarcity, of basic necessities of life, problems of even sometimes food to eat. And then when you now bring somebody out from where she was being pampered by, in quote, a criminal, right? As far as the fellow is concerned, that person is not a criminal.
So how do you begin to convince such girls that, look, these people that you confuse to be your lovers and all of that, they're actually your enemies? Of course, you talked about, Stockholm Syndrome, which this is referred to, where your captive actually you become emotionally attached to them. Yes. Now, let's look at the environment that Mike just talked about now. There's some of Chibok girls that, were fortunate enough to be taken abroad. In fact, some of them are now pilots. They've gone to school over there. You don't hear reports of them feeling any kind of desire to return to the kind of, experience they had under their captives. Good. So there's an environmental factor then that differentiates.
Very heavy one.
Yes.
Very heavy environmental factor, because by the time you complete a de-radicalization program, and then you still leave them within the same environment where there is lack, where there is no empowerment, they are not seeing anything much better than what they saw in the hands of Boko Haram, they will now begin to have that nostalgia and that feeling to go back. And then because they are still within the environment of Borno State, that is not far from Sambisa forest, then some of them would want to go back, and at the slightest opportunity that such ones have, they want to go back. And that's where we are seeing, in the case of Aisha, that went back to the husband, in quote. Now, it behooves on authorities to take them far away from that environment. That is one. Two, give them whatever they had, give them something better, so that they will begin to. 9-month program is not enough to completely de-radicalize the soul of somebody.
It has to be a continuous process.
It has to be a continuous process, and then the environment must be different, much better than what they had. And then, so that over time, the fellow will begin to understand that I was actually falling in love with the wrong fellow. And then that attachment will gradually begin to wane. Education is the key, because you cannot temper a mind that is not educated. So education is one of the key processes of keeping these ladies outside from their emotional wrong attachment to Boko Haram.
We hear that, especially for those who are undergoing rehabilitation and de-radicalization program with the federal government, are due to start new semesters by September. That's in about September starts later on in a week about so.
More so, Mike, don't forget that the societal acceptance and the reorientation is the key. After the de-radicalization, reformation, how about
reintegration.
Reintegration.
That further complicates the matter.
The environmental issue.
Because
reintegration.
Exactly. For those who are in Borno State, for instance, a lot of them went back to their parents, went back to their homes, and the community they find themselves.
Within the same community.
There are reports from some reports we got said that they were being stigmatized, especially for those of them who have children.
Yes.
So what kind of circumstance would that be a push factor?
It is.
Pushing them back
of course
to
it is.
Into the arms of their captors.
It is because they feel that the society has not fully accepted them. And you know, Nigerian environment has that fault. Somebody goes to prison, he comes out, he is terribly stigmatized.
It's a very unforgiving society.
Very terrible society. Somebody goes to prison, comes back, he's not reintegrated. Somebody, by not fault of his or hers, get infected by one kind of disease like HIV, AIDS, and then the stigmatization is there, even in workplaces.
Even from family members.
Even from family members. So somebody has gone into Boko Haram cell and then come out, bastardized, raped, impregnated, have a baby. The society fails to fully accept and reintegrate the fellow. And that is why environmental factor
Isn't
is
that
a very
where
bad one.
the NOA, the National Orientation Agency, and all other similar agencies should step in not only, clearing the mind or resetting the minds of these victims, but the communities where they have to return to, their families and all of that. Government seems not to be doing enough in that, direction.
I agree with you.
What does government need to do
Government has a duty
to change this situation?
Government has a huge responsibility in that regard to step up awareness, education, campaign, to let the people know that one, it is not the fault of these ladies to have been kidnapped. Two, it is not their fault to have even had babies. Three, it's not their fault to have gone into Boko Haram cells. They need to be fully accepted. But the acceptance that will be greatest will be the one that the fellows accept themselves. And then understanding themselves.
Not self-stigmatization.
Not self-stigmatization. Not self-pity.
Exactly.
Not self-defeat. It is education that will help them to do that. And then I think it is a wake-up call on Nigerian government at all levels, especially in educationally less advantaged states, to ensure that intensive education, especially of the girl child, is implemented, improved upon. Because if the educated mind is a mind that can be free from all form of nuances. If the mind is not educated, the least push, the fellow breaks. And government on its own has a responsibility to ensure that these fellas are empowered. And I don't mind is the devil's workshop.
All right, let's talk about the ease by which these girls who are with their parents, who are with their community, the ease by which they go back to Sambisa Forest to even meet their husbands.
Yes.
If they can wake up one day
and just
decide to go. And is that easy for them to go?
That is the critical question.
Yeah. What security implication would that?
And the critical mind has been asking, does it mean that they have been keeping tab
exactly
of one another? That is one. Does it mean that they know where and how to get back to this man? That is two. And three, does it mean that these men are settled somewhere that is not known to federal government,
but accessible to this,
but accessible to these women?
Because from the report,
because Sambisa Forest has been said to be completely ransacked by the military, and then they no longer hold any cell. That the Boko Haram elements are not.
That is the report by the military.
Is the report
but what we got, Sambisa is so large, so huge.
That you can't completely
route the totality of the forest.
More worrisome is the fact that in the case of Aisha, for example, this 25-year-old Aisha who fled with her baby,
with her baby,
she received a phone call from the same Sambisa Forest. Now, how is it possible that such access is there in the first place, that somebody could call her from Sambisa and she could take the call and decided to go back.
Exactly.
And then I understand that it's not even only Aisha that has been done that there are some other people who have gone back, but the matter have not been reported. So, but the question now, like you said, is how come it is that easy for the girls to keep tab with their lovers and then go back with which means? And then all these things are shielded from security agencies. What it simply means is that the reports we are getting from the security agencies need to be thoroughly examined.
Yeah.
Because we from the reports too we got, Aisha we're talking about, her younger sister Yerima said that, revealed that Aisha was given a gift of a SIM card when she was leaving.
So you can imagine
and she kept it all that while. So it means that there are SIM cards available
in the hands of the Boko Haram elements.
Where is intelligence in all of this?
So where is the intelligence in all that? And then where is the cooperation? You know, there was a time the security agencies lamented that they are not getting adequate cooperation from the telecom providers, service providers. By the time they ask that a particular SIM card or SIM cards be investigated, they don't get commensurate cooperation that they expected. And then I have been involved in some cases, personally, that in my legal practice, in some cases where we needed some investigation, I mean, along with the police, of a particular number, but we never got any from the telecoms. We wrote about 3, 4, 5 different letters, and we never got a response until the police used another means. Now, it is a wake-up call on Nigerians that the telecom operators must cooperate with security agencies. They must. It's not a function of whether they like or not. They must. For the sake of, it's not optional, for the sake of security and well-being of the Nigerian environment. Because they cannot, I mean, you can imagine that. There's no SIM card that is registered that's supposed to work. And then who registers those SIM cards? And then for any SIM card that is working, the location must be known. And that is what we are told.
Okay. Of course, in May 2016, Mike, there was a 9-year-old girl actually who insisted on going back too.
Exactly.
Even more troubling.
There are so many. That's why Fred said there are so many other reports that are not even on.
But then the government has to be very careful. Create environment better outside
than where they're coming from.
Fred
Nzako, thank you so much, lawyer and public commentator, for looking at this
many thanks.
with us.
Many thanks.